Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Sweet here, and today we're going to be talking about Viper, and Viper offlane in specific. Now, do keep in mind that this video, this guide on Viper, will also apply to mid-Viper, but I want to talk about the new builds that have been going around for Viper, and why this hero, even at the recent major, was heavily picked and heavily contested. So much so, to the point where the hero was first phase picked, which kind of always means that it's either a really good hero or a really good counter to meta heroes. I would say in this patch, I think it's one of the best counters in the game to a lot of meta heroes. For instance, a couple that come to mind for me, especially offlaners, are Timber, Tidehunter, Bristleback. We have Spectre as a safe laner. That hero is getting picked quite a bit. It's decent against Ursa, good against Faceless Void in lane. All in all, it's really just one of the best laners in the game right now. It loses practically 0 lanes, and I really do mean that. It actually almost loses no lanes. It can lose to tri-lanes, so if you're against the Viper, keep that in mind. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm going to be going over the item build that I think you should buy on this hero. There's a couple different builds people are going. I'm not a fan at all of the tanky ones. There's a couple people that think this, and I've played a lot of Viper myself, and I've recently just played a couple games for the sake of this video, and I hate the tank builds. I don't think they work. Every time I play it, you just get kited and ignored. And so instead, this will be the build you can go in your pubs to play like a position 1 from the offlane role. And no, it's not griefing, it's just good. But nonetheless, if you're excited to learn a little bit about Dota and you want to learn more, go sign up to the GAMELEAP website right now. We post videos there every single day. I'm continuing to try to improve the content I make over there, and you're really going to notice that if you watch those videos and apply the concepts, you'll get better much quicker. So click the link down below. Give it a shot. There's a refund policy if you don't like it. Check out some of Speed's content. I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, I'll see you guys there. All right, so here we go. Here's the starting item build. 3 tangos, 2 mangoes, a salve, circlet, 2 branches. Then after that, you're going to buy an urn. Why? Because your hero has no built-in sustain, so you need urn charges to heal yourself. Trust me. And then you also need mana regen. Okay, great. This item does all of that. Also, the armor is great. You start with 2. Urn gives you more. So really, I cannot stress how good Urn is on Viper. The damage is okay for using it on people, but it's mostly for the stats and the healing for yourself, at least in my opinion. Then, getting into the laning stage, Nether Toxin the first few waves. To be fair, you can actually use your Q at level 1 to harass people. It's only 20 mana now, that was buffed. But at level 1, it's a pretty underwhelming spell. At level 3, that's when poison attack becomes broken. Also keep in mind, what I want you guys to do if you pick Viper is after you shove the wave into the tower, there's literally nothing to do besides just go for denies. The only time you don't go for denies, as you don't see here, this is a deny you should go for. The only time you don't go for denies is if they have a heavy kill lane, such as Lion and Terrorblade, for instance, and Terrorblade still has meta, and Lion's level 2, and you can get wrapped on, then you shouldn't go for the denies. But for the most part, at level 1, level 2, you just kind of want another Toxin in the wave, and leave it at that. Get the last hits, prioritize the range creep, please prioritize the range creep, and continue to deny creeps. And you notice that Phantom Lancer, even without doing anything wrong necessarily, took a lot of damage. And it's really just from getting chipped down by a couple of auto attacks from Viper, but most importantly, from Nether Toxin. Now, skipping ahead, level 3 is when things get fun, as I talked about. This is when the hero becomes nutty. All you want to do once you hit level 3 is not dive. Keep this in mind. The key to playing Viper at level 3 is to auto-attack the enemy carry as much as humanly possible. Even if you can't build up stacks, it's fine. You can just hit them. Remember, your Q does not aggro creeps, so it's basically always a favorable trade. And do not shove the wave. Do not Nether Toxin the wave. When you hit level 3, if you shove in the wave, you are griefing your capability of abusing the strongest level 3 hero in the game, arguably. Strongest level 3 hero in the game. And look, PL walks up. I don't know why PL walked up like that. That was so bad. What PL needs to do at this point is number 1, just wait for Doppel. Literally, he has to wait for Doppel, otherwise he can't lane. And number 2, he has to just try to creep aggro. But yeah, a couple autos. I love the fact that he doesn't dive. And he goes back and starts to aggro deny. You see, once the creep gets to half HP, you aggro deny. The reason for this is you want to get back the wave as soon as possible and make sure it shoves towards your tower. You don't want it to go under either tower, but you do want to bring it back to your tower as fast as humanly possible. Also keep in mind, if you mess up and don't deny your range creeps, what you do want to do is, you'll see here, he's going to click ahead aggro off the PL, walk back, and drag onto the range creeps. Anytime you're trying to bring the lane back towards your tower, for instance, when you hit level 3, this is what you should do. Pull aggro onto your range creeps, they'll die the fastest, they also do the most damage, and then eventually you'll be able to bring the lane back. Now, to be honest, to be very honest, I feel like he should bring the wave back much faster. He's tanking the range creep a little bit. He's not denying as much as he could, so I actually have some gripes with his gameplay here, to be honest. I feel like he could completely shut down the Peel, and he is, as you can see, he is. But when Peel walks back to lane here, he'll at least get some XP and a last hit. Now, in terms of skill builds, Sam H this game, who's the Viper, doesn't take corrosive skin. I really don't understand this. Like, I don't recommend this, to be honest, almost at all. Corrosive skin level 1 gives you 10% magic resist. Pretty good in my opinion. Nether Toxin doesn't scale really at all. The max damage goes up by 20, which is okay, but they gotta be in it for 4 seconds, and at that point, the creeps are kind of dead already, so, yeah, I don't get this skill build. He, like, pretty hard commits to it as well. He even skips his ulti at 6, which, that I can kind of get behind, but keep it simple. Just go max poison attack and 1 point in the rest, and then after you do that, max the corrosive skin. I know people are maxing Nether Toxin. I'm just not a fan. I literally, in my pubs, I've been skipping it. I leave it at level 1, I just skip it, and then take stats, because I don't really feel like you use this spell for damage. It does shove the wave faster, but it already dies super fast. Like, you can see with 2 points, the wave dies in, like, I don't know what, basically 4 seconds, and so, yeah, I just don't feel like you need it. But okay, after you've won your lane, which you should have, if you didn't win your lane, you need to really pay a very close attention to how much you're auto-attacking the carry. That's the biggest mistake I see people make. They over-auto-attack at level 1, or they over-auto-attack at level 1 and don't buy mangoes. You can auto-attack at level 1, but then you have to buy like an extreme amount of mangoes, and it kind of hurts your net worth. So that's the number one thing. They over-auto-attack, they don't focus on CS enough, and so they don't have enough items to actually sustain the mana that Viper needs. This hero needs a lot of mana. If you're missing CS in lane and not Nether Toxin in camps after you've taken the tier 1, you're going to miss out. On top of that, keep in mind if you can't take the tier 1, for whatever reason you didn't crush your lane, maybe the position 5 is a hero that can stall you too easily. I don't know, maybe it's an enchantress and she's just dragging her waves with a creep. Okay, it's fine. Focus on your timings. Play like a carry. Notice how he's not going to roam. Okay, if someone dives a different lane 4, 5, 6 minutes into the game, the worst thing you can do in Dota, obviously Dota's a game of exceptions, I say this all the time, but generally the worst thing you can do is TP. And so yeah, for a while, he just jungles. And this is what you want to do. Guys, if you're looking for like the most straightforward hero to play in the offlane that also dominates lanes, Viper's your hero, and it scales. Viper scales quite well now. It's not like the best scaling hero in the game. Don't expect to solo kill PL late game. It's not gonna happen unless he's awful and you have like, I don't know, Mjolnir Radiance or some nonsense like that. But yeah, let's look at why Viper is so good right now. So upcoming here at minute 11, he ends up getting ganked, he falls. I do believe he gets a train in return if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Almost gets a double kill. Only if he had more points than corrosive skin. Gosh darn it. But after that, he's gonna TP mid. The biggest advantage of your hero is this treads D-Lance time. Now, there's some other players that are just going like Atos and bots. There's players going bots rush. This build, in my opinion, is the best. Once again, it's an opinion. There's like kind of exceptions. Sometimes if your team needs like a wave shove hero and the enemy team has no answer to Viper, like they literally have no Viper counters, which you can kind of just look up on Dota Buff if you're interested on those. But if they don't have it, you can go bots and you can just kick people out of side lanes. Like you just go from side lane to side lane and you just bully people out of the side lanes and it's quite effective. But if that isn't the case, like this game, it's kind of hard for him to pressure these heroes. Treant just ignores him, Peel kind of ignores him. Then what you do is you can go this D-Lance build. Even if that isn't the case, you can actually kick people out of side lanes with D-Lance, but yeah, you just start to skirmish. And that's what Viper does best out of almost any hero in the early game. With these timings, you have 1500 HP, extra magic resist, and like a million attack range. What a lot of people don't know, because it doesn't say it, I don't know why it doesn't say it, it's like one of the biggest mysteries of Dota, but poison attack, the active, gives you bonus range. Yeah, it does. I don't know, once again, I don't know why it doesn't say it, but when you attack people with a poison attack, you get extra range. Combine that with Dragonlance, and you attack from across the map. You can see with the urn here, as he's diving the tower, it allows him to tank it up, stay on a reasonably high amount of HP, and continue to poke away at the enemy team as they dive at tier 2. I don't know why they did that. That was maybe a little bit too far, but you get the point. And you're just trying to really force out rotations. Main reason and thing you're trying to do is at this point trying to create space for your carry. For the first 10-ish minutes of the game, 10, 12 minutes of the game, get the Dragonlance and do everything in your power to hit timings. Bully people out of lanes if they come up. Very often people won't respect you and you can just solo kill them. But other than that, your Nether Toxin and camps, hitting your timings, and then we're going to look to sort of take towers. You don't want to dive or you know, go when the enemy team sees you coming though. Like this one, I watched this clip back and I'm like, I cannot believe he did this. Really, I don't understand why you would do this, because your hero can't move, okay? You just get stuck and can't move because you have no mobility spell. And so he dies here. But rotations forced, rotations forced, rotations forced, and that's the goal of your hero. You are a tank, you're meant to get gone on, you want to get gone on, but when you do get gone on, the best recommendation I have to know whether or not it is a good time to get gone on is if you initiated the fight. What do I mean by that? If you start a fight by building up 2 or 3 poison attack stacks on any hero, it often will be a good bait, assuming your team is behind you. Why? Because that person will essentially be out of the fight. Just the slow, the amp, and the damage from like a couple of stacks, especially if you can get to the 5, will completely kick certain heroes out of the game. 5 stacks of poison attack does about 700 to 800 damage in the early game. And therefore, heroes like Tree and Ogre, right, if they get built up stacks, they can't fight anymore. Even this Tree here, 3 stacks of poison attack does what? About 400 damage? That's how good this hero is early on. And finally, after like 5 minutes or like maybe more of hitting this mid tower, they get it. Mission accomplished, you know? Look at a troll! Look at a troll! This is the Viper effect. It really is. I know the troll won his lane. You're probably gonna be like, Speed, you picked a game where the carry won the lane. My carries always lose the lane and there's nothing I can do. Wow. This is the general effect. No, you can't guarantee a 4K network lead every game, but for the most part, what you're gonna notice is if you play your lane correctly, you are going to have your carry be about 1,000 to 2,000 net worth ahead of their carry just because of how bad the lane actually is for the large majority of heroes. And therefore, the games will often look like this. You're gonna have 4 to 5K net worth leads around the 15, 16 minute mark, just because of your lane. And also keep in mind, because of your farming ability. Like, do not stop farming on this hero. Please, don't roam. If you ever find yourself roaming, you're playing wrong. Always just kill the nearby camp or kill the nearby wave. Don't run around as Viper. You have, like, the worst movement speed in the game. I actually think it might be the worst. It's 275 base. I don't know what hero is worse than that. I think Invoker might be 275. I don't know. But then after that, getting into, like, the mid game, really your job's pretty simple. Don't get caught out too far out of position. To be honest, even here, I feel like his positioning is a little bit suspect. I think he was just trying to secure enough space where Troll could full-on Roche. Troll had a DD here, they popped Exo, and I think what he feels here is that if he just, like, throws his body in, it'll buy enough time for them to kill Roche because of how fast they actually Roche with their current heroes. So, I do get this play. Unfortunately, the Magnus went sicko mode. But nonetheless, this is kind of what you do. Usually, you would just be positioning somewhere like here, where if they walk over, you'd be the first person they see, but you can also hit them, right? You're trying to outrange them. Once again, as I said earlier, the key to know whether or not it's a good bait for Viper is usually if you can build up 2 or 3 stacks before they cast a spell on you. That's kind of like the rule of thumb for me. And yeah, even in this fight, it ends up being quite awful. He just couldn't move, you know, before this BKB, but he got so much committed on him. It was literally almost everything basically used on him, and you're pretty freaking tanky. The next tip comes with team fighting. It was funny, I was coaching someone on Viper very long ago, and I noticed that every single fight they would start with their ulti. Kinda makes sense, right? It's like most heroes, your main priority is your ulti. If you're playing Mag, yeah, you want to throw out a casual shockwave, but for the most part, you're looking for a good RP, right? Sometimes if you're like an Aether Lens Magnus, I guess that's not the case, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of heroes prioritize their ultimate. Viper's not one of them. It's actually Viper's last priority, believe it or not, yeah. Viper's last priority is his ultimate, and you'll even see that here as he goes on the Viper. It's not like he was just trying to instantly ulti. Now, keep in mind, if someone's melee range, you can ulti them, but look at the difference between his attack range. This is his attack range. No, that's without poison attack and Dragonlance, unfortunately. But his attack range is about from like here to here, okay? His ulti is that. That is your ulti. This is the range, okay? See the green circle? That's the range. Despicable. And so very often trying to use your ulti at all gets you killed. Don't prioritize it, is all I'm trying to say. It should be the last spell you use. Another toxin poison attack, by far more important. And when you use that order correctly, it will actually keep you in position, as I was saying, and just make you do more overall damage. Your ultimate is, it's kind of just meh. It's more so good at just like finishing off kills if someone messes up and gets too close. And by the way, I think there's 2 different builds you can go on Viper that I'm a fan of. The first one is a Hurricane Pike rush. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually think rushing Hurricane Pike is really good on Viper. It's really nice. The stats are all just kind of what you want, and the mobility is fantastic. It gives you 15 intelligence, which your hero kind of inherently lacks mana sometimes. It can run out of mana in fights. It gives you 200 HP, which is much more than the Fluffy Hat component that it builds from. 15 strength, which is 3 more than the Dragonlance, and 20 agi, which is, I believe, 4 more than Dragonlance. Yeah, so you just get a lot of nice stats, and then the mobility is fantastic. Also, the active can be pretty good, right? 4 poison attack stacks when you push someone away, which is often Viper's weaknesses, heroes that get on top of him with some sort of immunity, like an egg or, you know, a PL that he can't find the target, that type of thing. But, the Lance obviously helps against that, and in an early game, if they don't have a bunch of magical damage, and you're just getting all the space in the world, like, you notice that the game's going slow, you already took mid-tier 1, you took bottom tier 1, you don't want to, like, run into their tier 2s, then, yeah, you can just rush the Pike. But if the game's a little bit faster like this, and you're not the farm priority, and you're just kind of, like, sieging towers, then go the build that Sam H goes, which is just this BKB rush. I think it's the way to go, just rush a BKB. Playing Viper without, like, some sort of defensive second item is just awful. It really is. Like, I tried it multiple times. I mean, you can go like this rod hood build because those items both inherently make you tanky, but you kind of just get kited and you don't threaten anyone, and I just don't like that. And now in terms of scaling, he actually goes for a Maelstrom in this game. Clearly he wanted the upgrade. What is it? Honestly, I sometimes forget the name of this item. I think it's Gleipnir, right? He obviously wanted the Gleipnir this game. Reason being, it's nice against PL. Once he commits Doppel, you drop the Gleipnir, and it just controls his illusions right. Also, the item in general makes you tanky. It's simply just solid DPS with the attack speed that you already have from your level 10 of talent, by the way, which should always be attack speed. Please do not take Spell Lifesteal. Please. 20 attack speed is so good at level 10. Attack range at level 15, huge fan of this. You just chip people down before they can get on top of you. I talked about that earlier. Level 20, you want to take damage. Level 25, I generally recommend the Corrosive Skin Slow and Resistance. It just simply makes you have 50% total magic resist, slowest attack speed by 64, which is nutty. It's so much, and do a lot of damage as well. So that one I'm a big fan of. If it's not, like, if for whatever reason you're just not dying, then take another cooldown. Another toxin cooldown, I guess. It's much better for farming. And maybe they have stuff you need to break. If you really have to just constantly break people, then another toxin cooldown at 25 is good as well. But alright, let's get into the next fight. Now, the items I generally recommend, I'm not a huge fan of his Mjolnir pickup here. I do understand that this is like the general, you know, best pickup against PL as a right-click immobile hero. I do just want to say that you have massive amount of problems getting into the late game. Using Poison Attack, especially when you buy the Shard, which allows you to use it on buildings and get up to 8 stacks, you run out of mana like a madman, which is why you typically see people buying the Shard, which I think is fantastic, by the way, right? It lowers armor when you build it up, use on buildings, and you get more stacks, right? So it's really good. It's a really good Shard, but you kind of need a mana item, and so the mana items I've seen is basically just like Scotty. Alright, and that's going to be about all for today's video as we watch him just kite out this PL. Not that he really does anything, he kind of just pops BKB with an Elven Tunic, puts down another Toxin, and sort of walks away. I even think he should have walked away a little bit earlier, but nonetheless, he lives it, continues to kite out the PL, reducing the attack speed, just having magic resist in general, and yeah, it's another one fight for the boys. But yeah, best of luck in your pubs, guys. I wish you the best. I really think Viper is one of those great options for a hero that doesn't completely rely on your teammates. So if you're an offlaner and even if you're a safe laner or a mid laner and you feel like you're just this space creating bot that never has items, Viper is an awesome alternative of a hero that can create space, but also win lane, but also scale. It's not the best scaling hero in the game, as I said earlier, but it certainly does quite well. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace! And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!